mountain of laundry. Hello, welcome to the channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about some tips for hosting people. I actually have my camera propped up on a tripod since you can see the pile of laundry that is in front of me. You know that this is really a pile of laundry. And that is partially because we have had just a string of guests, which is super fun. Our family loves hosting people. It does produce some extra laundry though. Hosting people is such a wonderful way to connect with people and to bless people. I come from a long line of hosters. My mom is an amazing hostess. My grandmother is an amazing hostess. Folding fitted sheets is one of my least favorite things to do. So we're just kind of going with it. But yeah, so I feel like I had a lot of really awesome examples. So that's what I've drawn from. And then another kind of point for maybe your context is we live in New Zealand, which means that when people come and visit us, it's like a big deal because New Zealand is like, you know, not on the way to anywhere in particular. I guess unless you're going to Antarctica or something. So when people come and visit us, we want to help them save money by letting them stay with us whenever we possibly can so that they don't have to pay for these massive airplane tickets and then also have to pay for housing while they're visiting us. So as much as we can, we try to do that. And if we can't, then we try to like provide food and stuff like that as much as possible. So that is also maybe helpful for context because we do have international visitors, maybe more than the average person, but I feel like that's just helped us build our muscles of hosting. So my first tip for hosting in a small space is focus on the essentials, especially in terms of preparation. So you really don't have to have luxury 5-star hotel experience, but having clean sheets, clean towels, a freshly vacuumed floor, and a room that, you know, smells good. That's a great thing to just focus on and a great thing to start with. And I think all of us appreciate, you know, when we arrive at somebody's house, it's nice to just have those simple basics. The next thing that I would suggest is don't stress about what you can't change. So our house is small. We have 1 bathroom, 2 bedrooms here inside of our cottage, and we have 4 kids, and I'm pregnant with baby number 5. We have a busy home. We homeschool our children, and right now my husband and I are both home, working mostly from home during the day. So there's a lot of noise around here. We utilize the deck outside for our kids to play on when the weather is nice, and it can be noisy. And sometimes I feel like tempted to stress and apologize for like, I'm sorry it's so noisy. But the reality is that everybody who has come to stay with us has known what the conditions of our household are like before they come. And they're all grown-ups and they can all choose whether our place is going to be the best place for them to stay or not. And so don't stress about what you can't change. If your house is small, then your house is small. You live with it. People who come and visit you are far more interested, I think, if they're your real friends, in seeing what your life is like and being a part of it rather than in, you know, getting a luxury experience. Tip number 3, prioritize your relationships over the logistics. I like to focus on the basics of people arriving. So making sure that their guest room is clean, that the sheets are clean, that the bed is made for them, that there's enough blankets for them to be warm, and then making sure that I have kind of like cleaned the bathroom so that it's not disgusting and dirty for them when they arrive, but that they'll be comfortable in our space. I don't stress about decluttering every closet before somebody arrives because most likely they're not going to care what's in my closet. They're thinking about whether the space that they're in is comfortable for them and whether I am at peace. Because if I'm stressed about things, that makes their stay much less enjoyable. I hope you appreciate the cars that are driving underneath of where the camera is. Focus on the relationship over the logistics. Make sure you have enough food to like get through the next 2 meals or whatever on hand, but then you can always collaborate or work together or make a plan on the go. And you don't have to have the whole entire thing planned out in advance. You don't have to have every nook and cranny of your house scrubbed clean. Focus on being not stressed. I think that's important. My 4th tip is, as much as you can, communicate in advance to help set the expectations. So communicate in advance about food allergies or food intolerances or preferences. I like to do this in writing because then it gives me something to come back to and reference, but having them also be able to see what you communicate in advance can be helpful for them to refer back to, especially if they're doing like a big international trip and there's lots of little details that they're trying to keep track of. I like to do things like just explain, if they haven't visited us before, explain our household and that the kids are here all the time. They don't leave and go to school or leave and go to daycare, so they're here. My husband and I are here. We only have 1 car, so if they're coming hoping to be able to take a car and go explore, they're probably gonna need to rent something. I like to explain that we live rurally, so it's not easy to pop down to the local grocery store or whatever. Just explaining like, hey, our kids usually go to bed about this time, they get up about this time. We usually do family dinners together. Breakfast and lunch are a bit more, we'll probably plan on that being a bit more on your own or whatever. Just whatever would be helpful for them to know to kind of set the tone and set their expectations coming into your home. I think that that's helpful information to communicate in advance. And thanks, buddy. When I am a guest in somebody's home, I really like to have that information up front. It's not essential, but I think it can be helpful and it helps put me more at ease because then I feel like I know kind of what to expect. Tip number 5 is invite and welcome your guests into helping you. You don't have to do this in an overbearing way, but I always appreciate, as a guest, being kind of treated like one of the family. And in our family, we work together on things. You can just set the tone as the host and be clear about that. I feel like that can be a real benefit. Tip number 6, when your guests arrive, share in a bit of detail what the household looks like. Again, I would rather know this as a guest than not know this. So I think it's helpful to know, okay, our family usually starts to wake up between 6:30 and 7, but we have the kids stay in their bedroom until 7:30 because that early morning time is time when my husband and I try to do a workout or have some quiet Bible reading, or I work on my blog, or my husband works on his YouTube channel. And if you need to come in and use the bathroom, feel free. If you want to boil the kettle and make a cup of tea, that's awesome. But we will probably try to keep the conversation to an absolute minimum and kind of do what we're doing until about 7:30. And that just lets people know if they happen to wake up at 5, they can go for a walk, they can read a book, they can make a cup of tea and go sit on the deck and watch the sunrise. But I'm not going into like active hosting mode until after 7:30. And then similarly, like with nighttime, I like to tell people we'll start our bedtime routine with the kids, usually at about this time. I'm gonna try to be going to bed by about this time while you're here, whatever the case might be. Just clearly communicating what some of those flows of your household are and where the timelines are, I think just helps everybody kind of know whether they're on the same page as you, and if not, how to get there. Tip number 7, allow them to take care of themselves, obviously within reason. So I like to just show our guests, this is where the breakfast stuff is. You're welcome to any of this stuff in the fridge. This is where I'll keep it. This is where the tea making stuff is. This is where the coffee making stuff is. This is where the kettle is. This is where the towels are in the bathroom. You're welcome to use the soap, the shampoo, the conditioner, whatever any of that stuff is. I like to just let people know about all of that and then give them the freedom to take care of themselves. Tip number 8 is to keep your meals and your schedule kind of as simplified as possible. You don't have to make a hot breakfast, a hot lunch, and a hot dinner when you have guests and spend your whole time in the kitchen. I think that trying to keep your time when people are here a bit more protected is nice. It doesn't have to be really busy. You don't have to be entertaining every second of the day. It's okay to focus on, okay, we're gonna have a nice dinner, but for breakfast, we're doing yogurt or cold cereal. For lunches, it's gonna be a make your own sandwich sort of situation. Here's the ingredients for it. And dinner will be ready at this time. Keep it simple, don't overfill it, and don't overcomplicate it. Tip number 9, I like to just prep my kids. Obviously, this is a really good time to go over basic safety stuff. So we have some safety rules in our family, which is when a guest is here, we have our kids stay out of the guest room just for their protection, for the protection of our guest, and to respect the guest's space. And likewise, we tell our kids, if you're gonna hang out with a guest, if you're gonna ask them to read a book with you or do a puzzle or something like that, we're gonna do that out here in the common area. We're not gonna go behind closed bedroom doors to do that. We don't make it a big deal with our kids, but that's just kind of a family rule that we have. So I like to prep them for just, kind of those basic safety things, but also I like to prep them for how they can best interact with the guests. So having a guest in our home is a great opportunity for our kids to practice conversation skills and respecting somebody else's space and using polite ways or respectful ways of interacting with me or with my husband if we're in the middle of a conversation. So those sorts of things are all really helpful, and even just like noise levels, like reminding our kids like, oh, we have a guest who's here and they went out to the sleep out because they're tired, they're jet lagged, and they need to take a little bit of a nap. Let's go out to another part of the yard rather than making that noise right here on the deck or whatever the case might be. And then tip number 10 is enjoy your guests. Enjoy spending time with them. It's not every day that you have people visiting you, particularly if they've come from across the world. And so enjoying them, showing them your life, not in a super stressful way, but just letting them participate in it and be a part of it. Do you need some help backing up? Yeah. Okay, here, let me help you. So find things to do with them, teach them your favorite card game, share your favorite type of tea with them, take them to your kids' favorite park and have a good conversation, take them on walks down your driveway if you like to do that. Just enjoy the time with them, enjoy being able to have them be a part of your life, and try to soak up that time because, pretty soon, even though sometimes in the middle of hosting it can feel like a lot and you can feel like, oh, I'm getting tired, it doesn't last forever, and you will be going back to your normal and they'll be going back to their normal, and you'll want to have good memories of that time. Okay, my laundry is folded and my baby's diaper needs to be changed. So I'm going to sign off there. I will see you hopefully next week if I'm on top of things with another video. Thanks so much for being here and have a great day.